This is a 2008 City Jetta City, and I mean, all in all, it hasn't been a bad car for us, but it's probably one of the worst cars that Volkswagen ever made. Mostly because Volkswagen didn't make it. Not really. My understanding, these were made in Brazil. Probably partly in Mexico, but I believe it was Brazil. Correct me if I'm wrong. From spare parts, so it's like a Frankenstein's monster. And all these Jettas have problems with the rear coil springs, especially the TDIs. This one's a gas, a 2.0 slow they call it. It's naturally aspirated. And as you can see here, the tire is way further up into the wheel well than what it should be. Now this car was just safety inspected like a month ago. And, you know, you compare it to this, and there's some knocking and banging going on. So, this is and, you know, we have two Jettas like this, another Jetta like this, another Mark IV TDI. My son has a Tiguan. Like lots of Jettas around. Actually, the TDI is my son. We go through a lot of these Jettas. So, you can see under there that this time the spring didn't break out. It looks like the mounting bracket for the spring broke out. As you can see over there, that one's up, high and tight, and this one here is just about dragging the ground. So I'll get a jack under it, we'll jack it up, knock the wheel off, and we'll see what we got. Okay, so it's not good. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's repairable. I guess everything's repairable if you want to put the amount of work into it needs. I'm not so sure that this was in shape to pass inspection, but I could see why he missed it. I guess. Yeah, I guess that the sun is kind of... But you can see it's broke out right here. And it looks like... Maybe I got to go in from the other side. It's kind of broke out up here a little bit. And the bracket is bent right here. So the whole strut mount assembly is... sorry. This is not a strut. Bad terminology. This is a spring and a shock. Of course, a strut, for anybody who doesn't know, is the spring and the shock are in one unit, the McPherson strut. That's what's on the front of the car. The back of this car has a shock and a spring. So, in order to get this spring out of there and take the tension out of it, we'll have to remove those two bolts at the top and remove the shock. The shock is hanging right now. It's actually leaking a little bit there too. Not a big deal. It's probably time to change it. And remove this here is just a plastic guard. This doesn't do anything right here. This is the spring mount. Knock the spring mount out, reinforce it, and weld it back onto the rear control arm, rear swing arm, trailing arm, depending on where you are, what you want to call it. And build it back up, weld it back in place, and we'll be back in business here in 2 or 3 hours by the time I do all the metal fab and what have you. So, but if you look in, I don't know how well this is going to show this, but in right here, it's rotted right out. So I got to put a whole new piece in there and reinforce this right here. Reinforce this right here, this piece. Grind this off the top here, and then reattach this. This is welded on here, and then, you know, put a splash of paint on it, and we should be good to go. So anyway, I'll get set up. I'll see if I can set up a couple of cameras and show you what I'm doing, because if I'm having this problem, it can't be the first time it's happened. because these Jettas are well known for having the same problems over and over and over in a lot of cases. Usually when you see the wheel sunk like this, it's this spring that's broken on these Mark IVs. Well, most of them, not even the Mark, like a lot of Jettas. The front springs and the back springs are famous for breaking out here in Eastern Canada anyway, and I'm sure most anywhere else. They've only got a certain amount of life in them, and they'll snap. Sometimes they'll puncture a tire, but usually they won't. And we've changed dozens of them, so on our own vehicles. Because I've got 3 Jettas. My son has a Jetta and a Tiguan. My other son has a Jetta, a Golf, and a Tiguan. So there's lots of this junk around. So I'll get this set up and we'll see if we can't get this repaired. Okay. There. Now the help has arrived. Okay. I guess I'm going to have to jack the other side. Hopefully that's enough to pop it out. Might not be enough to get it back in. But there's a spring out. And this shock is probably just going to be in the way, so we'll take it out completely. Just give ourselves some space to work. I'll bring you down for a little look-see, so you can see where we're at. So, as you can see, the calipers hung like stockings from the chimney with care. And in here, I can't see the viewfinder in there very well. I think I got a good shot of it. The sun is really shining off it bad, but you can see how rotted out this is here. This is the mount here. And this part here welds on, this part here comes up here and welds onto here. And then this piece here is just starting to break out, but the park brake cable was going underneath of it and was what held it up from losing it on the highway. Wifey said, I hear a noise. Yeah, I guess you do. And then, of course, on this side, it's broke out along here. So we'll put this up till this matches here. We'll tack it in. Then I'll run a piece of strip of metal across here and grind this out and weld it to here. Oh, sorry. I'm having trouble seeing this. So I'll reinforce this here. Then I'll reinforce. Oh, here, I'm having a hard time with the sun. Sorry, guys. I'll reinforce this here with a couple of strips of steel. Same along here, up onto here. This is still solid, the trailing arm. The rest of this looks pretty solid. It's just at the welds, it's pretty rusty. The rest of it looks like it's pretty, there's lots of metal there. But at the anchor points, even the shock mounting bracket looks like it's whole. The spring holder, bottom plate, looks good. So it just rotted out here, right along here. So we'll grind this off, clean this all out. I'll move this up in place, and then we'll add some metal and weld it back in place. I really didn't want to do this today. I was planning on doing woodworking today and making a video on that. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'll put you back over here and clean this all up and show you what I got done after. And you can see how it's starting to crack out in here. You see that crack? I'll be able to wire wheel this out and clean that up and weld that too, so that has some strength, and then I'll reinforce it. Okay, so I didn't realize that this was on pause. I changed the battery, and it's a new machine to me. And I had it on pause, talking away to myself. So, anyway, I got most of the welds in that covered now. You can see this is just liquid rock guard goop. I've got sprayed on everything. And I had taken a whole bunch of images of this. My other camera, the battery died on it, the time lapse. So I don't know how much is on that. So, I mean, the welds are not as bad as this. Look at this goopy, but you can see it's back up there in place. I put a bracket in here, and I put another bracket down in here, bar, and added to the bracket, I should say. And then that bar across there, and fillet welded it underneath, and got it all secured. And it's probably stronger now than it was factory, honestly. Not that it was, you know, a D10 or anything, but, you know, and it's in there fairly level. I gotta take I got the park brake cable on, the caliper back on. I already said all this, but I guess I'm saying it again. And so now I'm going to put the spring, the shock back in, and we should be back in business. And I'm sorry I lost the time lapse, but I think it's working now. I think I got this camera recording. The light's flashing red anyway. We'll see. I'll take that out altogether. Sure. The last time I pushed this, I did. There we go. There. Okay, I guess my jack was in the way. So now it's on the nub at the top. You can't miss it. I didn't video it, but you can't really miss it. There's a nub there. Now we got to get the jack back underneath. There, lift it a little bit. It doesn't take a lot. Now we've got the shock, which is leaking a little bit, but it's still, well, it needs to be replaced. I'll have to get a new one. I don't have one right now, but I'll get a new one. So that'll be another video. Not that it's very difficult to change the shock on this, but I guess that needs to be done, but not today. So the bottom nut's in. So now I need my jacking tool, which is my power saw thing on, in this case. And you're just compressing the spring, and you've got to extend the, it's easier to extend, like if the shock was working right, it'd be extended all the way, but it's not, so. So that'll be for later. A shock for this is not expensive. I'll get one this week. Well, it's partially working. The shock. Okay. So the two bolts in the top, they're 16 mil. The bolt on the bottom is 16 mil as well. Okay, there's one started. And they don't, you don't, this gun here, you need to put it on 2 because 3 will snap them off or strip them out. It's too strong. And hold the bolt on the bottom. Give it a little, oh, can't do it that way, gotta do it the other way. Give it a little tighten. That's good enough. That's a lock nut. And I'm going to be taking it off in a few days, so there's no reason to come all on board with it. We put the wheel back on. Now I push the brakes back, so when I start this off and I get ready to go, before I go I got to pump the brakes, because when I move the park brake to take the cable off and on, it pushes the pad out a bit, and you have to be aware of that. If the rotor is not between the pads and you touch the pedal or you move the park brake, it is going to move the piston out. So I had to push it back. This particular caliper, you need to spin it as you're pushing it back. It doesn't push straight back. Some of them push straight back. Some of them you got to rotate. This one you have to rotate. And whoever came up with it was, well, it's not what I would have done anyway. I like just straight push them straight back. Never had any problem with it, but anyway, that's what Volkswagen does on a lot of machines. Now, I torque all my wheel nuts. Some people do, some people don't. For me, it's a safety thing. I know it's funny that I'm talking with safety under here with no jack stands, this and that. Always support your vehicle. Don't do as I do. This is not a safety video. I just got to get this done. And jack stands on dirt. Oh, that's a 17. I got a 16 on there. Are probably not the safest. You're probably best to go with blocks of wood. Now I do have lots of those too, but anyway. Now, if I've got aluminum on, these say to torque at 92, I think it is. If I've got aluminum on, I torque them at 85. Steel, I torque them at 90. If you want to look up the exact specs of your car, that's fine. But I do torque them. I just put them on. I just more or less spin them in with this. And when I got the weight to back down on the car, I'll torque them in. So, now, like I said, I got steel on. So I'm going to go to 90 pounds. If it's 90.5 or 95 or 88, I don't, don't call and correct me. I don't care. I do all small cars like this, 90 pound steel, 85 aluminum, and trucks, well, depending on the size of the truck. I don't care too much what the manufacturer says, and I don't have wheels fall off. I've been doing this crap for 40 years. Too long. Like most people who are torquing things, I use the star pattern. Pulls things on straight, so I usually go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever your pattern is. It's generally not recommended to go this way or that way. Break it up a bit, but just make sure you get them all. And torquing them in a circle is better than not torquing them at all, I guess, as far as that goes. But you can see the height the car is riding here now. And you can see, now this will lower itself a bit here, but you can see the height it's riding here now. The wheel was up in the wheel well. And that's good for another 100,000 miles. the car will be scrapped by then anyway. This car doesn't have many miles on it. It's got just over 200,000 kilometers, so what's that, 130, 125, 130,000 miles. It's a 2008. The front, you know, the front has been raised a little bit. I lifted the strut up in the spindle, broke off the tab and the strut and lifted it up because the front of this City is low enough that you keep it in the transmission oil pan, and you'll see we got gravel roads. Now, if you're on pavement all the time in the city, you know, Jetta City, you won't have that issue normally. But out here we did, so I broke off the tab in the back of the struts, lifted it to 3/4 of an inch, and that seemed to fix the problem because wifey can't seem to follow the high spots. She wants to drive in the ruts. I can't break her from that habit, so I lifted so the car is 3/4 of an inch higher than it would be normally. So there. I hope this video comes out in a cohesive manner because I had a couple of recording issues. But that's how you fix or how I fix. I mean, probably the right thing to do would buy a whole new, brand new bracket, cut out the whole one, weld it back in place and all that. This car is just not worth that. And there was enough material there to weld to it that I'm confident that it's strong. If it was rotted out and there was nothing there to weld to, then I would go find one and replace it and weld a new one in there. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Some aspect of it, whether it's taking out the brakes or changing the spring or the shock or welding the thing. I hope somebody finds it useful. And if you got any helpful comments, I'd love to hear from them. Don't bother me with safety and stuff like that. I'm too careless to care. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.